Welcome to EPG Pathshala. My name is V. Bhaskar and I have been working in taxes. In this session, we will discuss GST roadmap to implementation. This will consist of three parts. The first part will be a background which will discuss the economy and emphasize the need for growth. The second part will discuss the present taxation structure and the problems in the present taxation structure which hinder the growth which is so required. The third will discuss the need for the GST and how the GST will address these challenges to promote a vibrant economy. See, I thought I will raise 7 questions. The manner of asking questions and answering sometimes becomes much simpler. First question will be, why is this topic important to me? Why am I listening to this? That is the first question I am asking. Second is, what is the present taxation system and what is wrong with it? Third is, what is GST and what will it do? Fourth question is, what will its be impact on state governments and the government of India? Fifth question is, what are the other issues which are involved in GST implementation? Which government, you see, GST is a tax being levied. There are other considerations which come into GST also, which people look at. The political leadership looks at. What are those issues and how are they handled? Sixth is, what is the proposed GST legal and implementation framework? What are the laws? How is it going to be implemented? The seventh is, what are the implementation issues and what is the way forward? Here particularly I will cover issues relating to the services sector, especially telecom, banking, insurance, railways and civil aviation. See, any change there will be problems. So I am not saying that there are issues which need to be faced. Why is this topic important to me? See, India, we are seen as a country which has launched 104 satellites into space. Just day before yesterday, we did South SARC satellite. We want to be a member of the United Nations Security Council. We want to we are some of the richest men of the world in our. We feel that we are a rich country. I want to emphasize to you in the next 5 minutes, we are a poor country. We are a desperately poor country which has shown that we can at some times excel in the world. Now, I want to talk to you about growth rates. See, per capita nominal GDP, India, as on 2015 numbers, is $1,600. That is our per capita. The richest country in the world has a per capita of $1 lakh, Luxembourg. Just remember this. Now you see health indicators. I just want to brief. See, our life expectancy is one of the lowest in the world. Our HDI rank, Human Development Rank, is one of the lowest. Our public expenditure on health is low. Our under 5 mortality rate is 49, which is a shame, 49. Our maternal mortality rate is 167, again, which is a huge problem. You are allowing 167 out of 1 lakh mothers to die at the time of birth. Basic point I am saying is, we have a low per capita income, we are poor, we don't have good health, we don't have good education. Let us see 70. See, I did a small calculation. This is 2016, our population is 1.29 billion. Our present GDP is 2.28 trillion. Our per capita is 1,767. I said, how much should India grow at what rate so that it becomes per capita of $10,000? Not $1 lakh of Luxembourg, not 50,000 of US today. How much will it become? $10,000 in 2030. That is 14 years from now, for India to become in what I call a pathetic, a very suboptimal 10,000, which is worse than what most countries are today. If you want to get 10,000, what should our growth rate be? Growth rate required per capita of 10,000, which is less than 1/5 of US per capita today, and only 2,000 more than what is China today. What should our growth rate be? Can you guess? 14%. A third rate, 10,000 per capita in 2030. You have to grow at 14% per year. Can you imagine the shock it gives you? And the next issue, can you do, and we have these daily arguments in Delhi and the world. IMF says India has cut the growth from 7.2 to 7.1. Planning Commission, World Bank says world growth rate has gone 7.6 to 7.4. RBI says 7.3. How does it matter? You need 14%. This 0.1, 0.2% is all bogus. The argument we are having about 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 doesn't matter, because even if you do 14, you will still be a poor economy in 2030. So historically, growth rates I have shown, agriculture has grown at 2%, industry has grown at 9%, manufacturing at 10%. We have never reached 14. Government says that industry and services will grow at 12% each. If 12% each, industry and services will grow, assuming that government is correct, to get 14.3% overall economical growth, how much will agriculture have to grow at? More than 15% agriculture has to grow if we have to get 14.3% growth rate, if we have to get 10,000 per capita, which will make it one of the poorest countries of the world in 2030. Will we go from a nation of young poor to a nation of old poor in 2030? Also, we have inequality in India. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. We are doing nothing about it. Nominal per capita of 10,000 in 2030 are desirable. Even at 14%, you will get only 10,000 per capita. Is it a desirable target for India, whom we say we are a world power, we are a member of the Security Council, we have launched 104 satellites. Is this a desirable target? Is it necessary? What can and should you do? This is where I propose to bring in. Moral of my story is public interest. We cannot afford to tread the path of gradual, calibrated, consensus-based reform. For the last 50 years, we are doing gradual, calibrated, consensus-based, everybody must be happy reform. The time we have to be what I call a nation in a hurry. We must accelerate our growth. Otherwise, tomorrow, with inequality increasing and poverty increasing, you will not be sitting in this classroom. There will be social unrest outside if they have unemployed and people with jobs outside. We must be in a nation in a hurry. We must be willing to adapt, change quicker. VAT implementation, I was involved in VAT implementation, took 15 years. GST implementation already taken 10 years. You want to increase your growth rate, GST will give you a growth rate. Our calculations show 1%. Federal Reserve has published a report just last month. They say you'll get a growth rate of increase of 4% if you implement GST. We need it. You need to do it quickly. So the public interest is that you must implement GST as quickly as possible. Otherwise, we will be condemned to poverty in the nation. What is the present tax? So as I said, we need GST because we need to accelerate the speed of the economic growth. We need it fast. People are asking for postponement. You keep doing postponement, your grandchildren will be condemned to be, as I said, a $10,000 per capita, lower middle income country in 2030. What is GST and what will it do? Before I come to GST, I need to talk about taxes. What kind of taxes? Because GST is a tax. We need to talk about taxation. The Constitution divides taxes between center and states. Center is allocated some taxes. States are allocated some taxes. What are the taxes allocated to center? Which? No, not direct taxes. See, no, income tax, non-agricultural income tax. Agricultural income tax is state. Income tax, customs, central excise, or service tax, center. State, anti-tax, registration, these are allocated to state. Now, what is so unique about this? And there is a concurrent list. Which, does it have taxes? The concurrent list, the practical purpose, does not have any taxes. When the Constitution was framed, the founding fathers are very wise people. What they said was, I say, if I can use the Hindi term, jo tera tera, jo mera mera. The taxes were divided such a way, center got its share and the state got its share. There was no commonality of taxation. This has resulted in good relationships between the center and the state because there has been no dispute on taxes. What is going to happen in GST? For the first time since 70 years, the tax base is going to be merged. So it will become jo tera or jo mera hamara. When this hamara comes in, what will be the relationship between center and states is an issue we will discuss when we come to the end. But see the fundamental difference. See, they say good neighbors make good fences. A family parts, they divide the house into two, and this is yours, this is mine, the brothers live peacefully. But if you tell the brothers, no, you live together in the same house, will they live? How will they live? That is something like GST. You are having a shared tax base between state. That is one of the reasons why telecoms is having problem with GST, because the states are insisting you register with me also. Previously, BSNL used to register single point entry registration for service tax. Now, state saying I am having a share in your service tax. You come and do Shashrang Namaskar or Dandam or Pranam to me in 29 different places. That is an issue for somebody like service provider. It creates an issue. It arises because the tax base has been shared between the two. I was trying to tell you what is wrong with the present taxation system. Before I say that, I must define four verbs. Levy, collect, appropriate, allocate, proceeds. Levy means what? Levy means that you are talking of charging section. Levy means the law which gives you the right to levy the tax. Levy. Collect means who actually collects. Appropriate means I collect, but I may collect on his behalf. So I have to appropriate to him. And after he appropriates, professor, somebody else may tell him, no, the money you have got, you have to divide among some people. Now you look at this table. As I said, you need to look at the subject and the object of each verb. Who levies what? Who collects what? Levied, collected, appropriated, and proceeds allocated by. See, there is a union, there is a tax which it collects, appropriates, and keeps the proceeds with itself. These are called central cesses. It levies the cess by law, it collects the cess, it appropriates the cess for its own use, and proceeds are allocated by Government of India after it collects. Here you have a cess where levied, collected, appropriated, and allocated by Finance Commission. Income tax, service tax, customs. Union government levies it, it collects it, it appropriates it, and where the money should go is decided by the Finance Commission. Here the third one, you have union levying, union states collecting, states appropriating, and states allocated. This is actually central sales tax, which is levied by the union, but the union authorizes the state to collect, and state collects and appropriates it. Then you have union levies collected by states, appropriated by states. This is stamp duty. Union acts, but states collect. Last, you have states levy, states collect, states appropriate. That is registration, stamp duty, etc. Now, I tried to explain this to you, but is this not confusing? One fellow levies, one fellow collects, another fellow appropriates. This is a huge mishmash of the taxation system. You have 5 different laws. In one law, you collect and you appropriate. In another law, he collects, you appropriate, he keeps. All these things are problematic. This is one of the reasons why our taxation system is creating inefficiencies because of stuff like this. Second is, of course, the argument which is given is, why did the foundation fathers give taxes like this? There is a reason. The reason being tax efficiency, reason being collection efficiency. Income tax is best collected by whom? Suppose income tax is collected by the sarpanch of the village. Can he collect? No, just think. Why will he not collect? Because sarpanch lives with the fellow next door. If he says you pay income tax, he said, no, my grandfather, my daughter's wedding is there, I'll pay next time. He'll not pay. And this fellow cannot force. So income tax should be collected at highest level as possible, expenditure should be levied at as lowest level as possible. For that reason, these people, they made this distribution. But in operation, what is happening? Huge problems are coming in the operation of the tax. We have a small direct tax base, and see, it is very easy to levy indirect tax, but it is very long to levy indirect taxes, because indirect taxes are what is called regressive. If I levy the rate, increase the rate of GST, the poor man pays, the rich man pays. If I increase the rate of income tax, the rich man only pays. So historically, we have tried to increase. We have a small direct tax base, and an indirect tax is dominated in the past. These are numbers, you can't see much of it. But I just want you to show direct taxes to GDP is 5.65, indirect taxes 4.62. Direct taxes has increased over the last 10 years. It needs to increase more against a GDP growth rate of 11%. Basically, I'm trying to say is, if you look at buoyancy of taxes, buoyancy means when GDP growth rate increases, how much is the tax which grows. Indirect tax rate has a lower buoyancy, meaning when economy grows by 1 rupee, tax should also grow by the same percentage. It is not growing. Why is it not growing? Because what is called efficiency of collection. Because the efficiency of collection is low. This is another reason why GST is being sought to brought in. To improve the efficiency of collection without raising the rates has been a major challenge for government, and GST provides an opportunity to improve collection efficiency without raising the rate, at the same time reducing corruption. That is a major motive for introduction of GST. This again, I'm talking of direct taxes here. Direct taxes are still large. Why I'm talking about direct taxes is, at the end we will discuss, there is a strong linkage between GST and direct taxes. Can you guess how? When GST is implemented, my theory is direct taxes will increase. So GST is indirect tax. We'll come to that later. That's why I've said growth of direct taxes is 13%. So even though GST may not increase high, direct taxes may increase higher. We'll come to it. See, another issue is how is the revenue collected? How to collect progressively revenue? Direct taxes in developing countries, income tax started only in 1900s. England in 1914 was the most powerful empire in the world. The percentage of population that qualified for direct taxes was 7%. In India, what percentage of population pay direct taxes? It's only 3%. 2.89% people pay taxes. US 43% pay taxes. This is what Mr. Modi and Mr. Jaitley are complaining. This is also a very valid fact. In India, we don't like paying taxes. It's a different matter. You feel the taxes are going to fellows who eat the money, and therefore but our tax collection is poor, our tax efficiency is poor. How to attack this from? These are the problems with the current system. International comparison, tax GDP ratio, India is around 10%. You have Sweden at 50%. You have Euro area at 40%. US, Israel at 40%. Our tax GDP should increase, but because we are a poor country, we cannot raise the rate. So what is our option?
Raise the base.
See, to raise taxes, increase taxes, there are 3 ways. Easiest way, raise the rate. Second way, widen the base. Third way, improve the efficiency. Raise the rate, widen the base, politically they are a problem, because what happens is people are affected, so the minister or the government will not approve. The only way to do it is improve the efficiency. However, so far what has happened, why do people don't want to improve efficiency? No, because if I am the commissioner of commercial tax, I improve efficiency, my weekly hafta will go down. So what happens is, I am not interested in improving efficiency. I am on a line of corrupt chain, maybe from upstairs to downstairs. If I improve the efficiency, my under the table income will come down. So will I improve? That is another reason why there has been always problem with implementation of taxation reform. The fellows who reform don't want to reform. GST is an opportunity to force them to reform. Can we spur a faster trajectory towards a progressive regime? Are there any tangible benefits can be harnessed? That is the question. And GST improves the tax efficiency is my thesis to you. This is presently union government charges customs, excise duty, what is called CVD and SAD. CVD is countervailing duty, SAD is called special additional duties on excise. There's service tax, there is sustenance. These are levied by the union government, which will be merged into GST. State government, VAT, motor vehicle tax, passengers, electricity duty is also not being levied. Now, what's happening is I made this list. Of course, this is the ideal GST list. All these things should be inside, including electricity duty is not there, and state excise should not there. I'll come to the argument why these should be included. But except for these two, state are giving away entertainment tax, betting tax, luxury tax, entry tax. The present VAT system has got what is called cascading. See, if you want to compete with the Chinese in the Thailand market for making, shall we say, the Chinese are expert at making everything, including, say, the Ganesh Murtis. Ganesh Murtis are imported from China into India. Suppose you want to compete with the Chinese in marketing Ganesh Murtis in Thailand, which is called Indian market. Chinese, when they export their Ganesh Murtis, for all exports, they are given full refund of taxes. In India, there is still what is called CST, Central Sales Tax, which is not refunded on export. Then taxes paid in other states are not refunded in the state of export. So there is what is called cascading, which prevents efficiency of competition. Indian industry has a problem of competing with other states because their taxes are not removed at the time of export fully. Most taxes are removed. There is duty drawback, there is export promotion, but some taxes still stick. So there is lack of efficiency. Then there is something called tax expenditures. As I said, CST continuance gives excess value to the tax. There is limited set-off of taxation of services. Entry tax is not set off. So the product an Indian exporter exports is not competitive. He cannot compete with others. And if you cannot compete, you cannot have more manufacturing, you cannot have more jobs, you cannot have higher growth. In the present system, you have differentiation between goods and services. There is a case which went up to Supreme Court on whether the tomato is a vegetable or a fruit. Why? Because vegetable is classified one rate and fruit is classified another rate. They fought all the way to the Supreme Court. Just last month, the Supreme Court order on what is the difference between a sandal and a chappal. Do you know the difference? I do not know. Supreme Court said that there is a difference between the sandal and a chappal because the rates are different. Sandal is one rate, chappal is one rate. So because of this product differentiation, there is tax avoidance, and that creates a problem in the present system. Then of course you have also administered prices, drugs, fertilizer, diesel, etc. Capital goods are treated differently. When I buy a huge machine, the tax on that is not allowed to be set off immediately. That's a big problem for industries today. It's set off over a period of 4 or 5 years. So that creates problems. Then concessions are, industrial concessions are being removed and not vatable goods continues. There is no VAT on imports. Today what's happening is, some goods when imported are cheaper than domestically manufactured goods. It is a system where what is happening is you are favoring other countries over your own manufacturers because there is no VAT on imports. That fellow imports, there is no VAT. There is one thing called a CVD and SAD. But the SAD is 4%. The VAT is 12%. So there's a problem where domestic manufacturers are negatively favored compared to the outside fellows, and that creates a problem. Then tax expenditures. By tax expenditures, I mean exemptions. Look at the level of exemptions here. These are 2013-14 numbers. Customs duty exemptions 2,60,000. Excise duty 1,95,000. Income tax 40,000. Forget income tax. Customs duty 2,60,000 and excise duty 1,95,000 are the exemptions given. Do you know what is the collection of customs duty? 2,10,000. Exemption is more than the collection. This is a huge issue with the present taxation structure, where we are collecting taxes, but who are the exemptions going to? All the big boys. They are collecting exemptions, so many exemptions that the tax collected is lower than the exemption. These are all published documents, by the way. I have not framed. This is available in the budget document, and they have a new name for it. They don't want to say exemptions. They call it tax expenditures. Actually, it means this money I have given you, I have waived. It is concessions given. But concession is a dirty word because you will get caught. So they call it tax expenditures. This tax expenditure is more than the collection, as I said. Then how are you going to run a system which is going to give you collect good tax with good efficiency? See, trends in tax expenditure previously. Half the revenue collection is tax expenditure. Excise and customs more than the revenue collected. And every year it is increasing. Why does it increase? Tax expenditure. This is the best way to provide patronage, political patronage. So we need a system where these kind of things will not be possible. I am moving toward the GST is a way. GST does not allow for any exemptions, any at all. So this is the disease which we are having. The other disease which we are having presently is, I don't know if you ever traveled by road. Of course, if you travel by road in your personal car, nothing happens. If you travel in a lorry from Chennai to Delhi, the actual traveling time is about 4 days. It will take you 12 days. Why? Because every state border, there are checkposts. And that fellow will check your goods because you are passing through. And what happens is, see, suppose you go to, say, the Odisha border. At Andhra side, there will be checkpost. Within half a kilometer, on the other side, there is another checkpost. So every border, 2 checkposts. So if there are 4 borders, 8 checkposts, each checkpost, say 4 hours, 5 hours. There is a huge drain on resources, transportation issues, transportation becomes expensive, trade becomes problematic. So this is the problem with the system. I am still in the problem of the system. Why our present taxation system is such a huge mess? And then what happens is, when you have this taxation system, suppose you want to make an investment. Where will you make an investment? Where you will pay minimum tax. Not where it is a, see, classical economic theory says you must make investment where it is cheapest to produce. But that is not there. What in the present taxation system, investment is made where the taxation system is most beneficial. That is why what Reliance has done in his Jamnagar, he has done what is called backward integration. Everything is produced, one unit, another unit, another unit. So there is no interstate taxation. Ideally speaking, if you should have, say, a coal plant in Madhya Pradesh, then a cement plant in Chhattisgarh, where the materials are there. But because interstate taxation is there is inefficiency in production. And and that is causing again problem with manufacture. So these are the problems with the present taxation system. First is tax expenditure, then lack of competitiveness, roadblocks on the roads, economy is not dynamic. This is the reason why, and corruption in the collection. This is the reason why they said we will now put goods and service tax. Now we'll come to what is GST and what will it do. First thing, this is the promise of GST. They say we will give you a harmonized national market. That means all states, 29 states and 7 union territories become one market. There will be no borders. Rate of tax will be the same across states. That is the promise. And if that is so, then there will be no cheating, no border control. It's a national market. Number 2, it will make manufacturing more competitive, because there will be full refund on all taxes, exports will become more competitive, logistics will become more competitive, and therefore manufacturing will grow, jobs will grow. You will improve ease of doing business. It is much easier to do business under GST. You can get a registration within 3 days under the GSTN network. So it will improve the ease of doing business. Then it will improve indirect and direct taxes, enhance GDP by 1.7%. That's some National Council of Applied Economic Research has done study. Your GDP will grow up by 1.9 to 1.7. Now, as I said, Federal Reserve is saying up to 4%. See, remember my old numbers. We are arguing about 7% growth when we require 14% growth. We require these kind of numbers for which we require GST. And see the size of the market. The size of the market is so large. 1.2 point population is greater than US, Europe, Canada, Australia combined. That's the size of the market. US, Europe, Australia and Canada put together, Indian market is bigger. As far as states are concerned, we have 29 states, 7 union territories, 36. EU has only 28 members. We are larger in terms of physical integration, larger in terms of market. This is a huge experiment we are jumping into. Now, in the market, you must have what is called a uniform definition of a tax. See, GST is defined consumption type, production type, or income type. These are three different types of GST. This basically means how you treat set off on capital good, tax paid on capital goods. Suppose I import a power plant, 500 crores. No, 500 crores, 100 megawatt plant, 500 crores. Tax on will be about, say, 20%. It will be 100 crores will be the tax. How should this tax be paid? In the production type GST, this tax is not allowed set off. In the income type GST, this tax is set off over a period of 5 years. In the consumption type GST, they will give you set off today. Today, someone like Adani sets up a power plant of 5,000 crores and then 10% is 20% is 1,000 crores the tax he has to pay. Immediately, they will give him that tax. That's called a consumption type GST. That is the GST which we are agreed to. Then it is also what is called origin based and destination based. Origin based means that you will tax exports and imports will not be taxed. Destination based means that you will tax imports and do not tax exports. We have agreed for a destination based GST and we do it based on invoices, subtraction based on invoices. This is the type of GST which we are having. Consumption type, destination based, invoice based. Why I am saying this is some of the rich states like Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, just last year they said, no, we have set up large industry. Because of this industry only we are making production items. So you allow us to charge 1% on interstate trade so that we will recover the cost for our infrastructure. That goes into what is called a production based GST, not a consumption based GST. But those fellows wanted money, there was a huge debate, there was a huge delay, but finally they went to a consumption type GST. And second thing about a harmonized GST will be, there should be no difference between goods and services. Whether it's a good or it is a service, I treat it the same. There should be no difference. Is this happening? We are going to come in the next session about is this real? This is actually, if you want the GDP growth rate to grow by 2% as per us and 4% as, you must implement this type of GST. Are we implementing this type of GST? I will come to that in shortly. See, as I said, again, I'm coming back to my old thing. We need to have high growth. To have high growth, you must have high manufacturing growth. To have high manufacturing growth, you must enhance competitiveness, harmonize market, promote investment, improve infrastructure, implement labor reform, remove, improve investment in agriculture, remove this. GST, previous please. GST will give you these three at one stroke. I now come to the fourth point in my discussion. What will be the impact on state governments and the government of India? See, this table is to show how much is the contribution of state governments and central governments to what is called the GST pool. What is the union excise? 1 lakh crores. Out of 1 lakh crores, 42% given to state governments. So balance is so much. This is what the union government contributes to the GST. This is what the state governments contribute to the GST. I have added 3 more taxes. My favorite is we are not yet including electricity duty, alcohol, real estate and entertainment tax in the GST. They are removed from GST. If they were included in the GST, then what happens is the central government will be 24% and state government would be 76. But the present GST, central government contributes 31% and state government contributes 69% of the taxes collected. 69 versus 31. Central government is putting into the pool only union excise, cesses, service tax. Only excise and service tax are being, income tax is not going, customs is not going. Central, state governments are putting more. So they are putting only 31% against 69. Ideally, we should have put the election duty, alcohol, real property entertainment tax also, in which case central, state government would be more. Point is, state governments are giving more to GST than central governments. Now, ideally speaking, this is what the GST should have done. Catalyze growth, improve competitiveness, exports, remove cascading, increase tax buoyancy by widening base, improving compliance, boost Make in India, reduce human interface. These are ideally speaking what it could have done, it should have done. Will it do? In view of the dilution in the GST structure, we will debate it subsequently. The political economy, interaction of political forces with tax frameworks. Politics is the process of balancing available resources against the needs and demands of different interest groups. Generation of GST will affect groups differentially. Again, political economy. The ruling political structures use tax to directly further their interests, manage, divert of various groupings in an era of so it is a, remember, GST is also a political instrument you are seeing. So when you see delays, when you see other, you should see that there is politics at work in GST. This is an issue which is, this government has publicly said, it has said that if I put 18% GST rates, a lot of people ask for single GST rate. They said if I put 18% GST rate, there will be what is called adverse distributional consequences. That means if I charge food grains, if I charge medicines, if I charge clothes at 18%, poor cannot pay. So government says, even though a lot of people say put one rate, they say no, we can't. We must have a low rate of 5%. We will charge low rate there. So this is an issue. Common man will be affected by taxation of items of common consumption. Presently, food grains are not taxed or charged at low. I cannot charge at a high rate. This central government's answer to people, including me, who have said, charge a uniform rate of 18%. Me and a lot of other people are arguing, efficiency demands single rate, and the poor people whom you have to give benefit. You give through Aadhaar, JAM, and bank account, you give them money to the extent of that. Like our gas is being paid, subsidy. That's ideally most efficient tax. Put a single rate and help the poor directly. But this government doesn't want it. They say, no. We will charge different rates for different people. Their reasoning, please, I'm not decrying the government, is valid. They say we don't want the poor to get affected. But there are other ways to prevent the poor from affected and still keep the efficiency of the GST. That is not working. Then reporting, then next issue is effect will be pronounced till growth picks up. The inflation effect, then reporting of two taxation authority. The other issue is, what happens is, when I said there is a shared common base between center and state, there is a base, jo hamara, jo tumhara, hamara. In this hamara, what is happening? There are about 160 countries in the world which have implemented GST. We are the only country in the world where two fellows are operating the tax. All the other countries, only one person operates the tax. Australia, Germany, the central government operates the tax and gives the state government its share. State government share, just like common base is there, one fellow collects, so you have only one boss. New Zealand, it's a unitary country, single. In fact, in Quebec, in Canada is a federation. There's a province called Quebec, which has got strong French connection. They have very strong French identity. Quebec has a strong personality. So when Canada, Ottawa said that I will collect the GST for you, The Quebec said, no, 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 you can't collect, I will collect for you. I will collect for ourselves, just like our states are doing. So see what has happened in Canada. The central government of Canada said, we want only one person collecting, you collect ours also. So Quebec collects for itself and for the central government and passes to the central government. Other states in Canada, the central government collects and passes on. We are the only country in the world where the center and the states don't trust each other. They are saying, this fellow is saying, I will collect my share. This man is saying, I will collect my share. So both of them are going to pounce on the taxpayer, including the BSNL, and they say, one fellow will ask one question, one fellow will ask another question. You give one answer, he will give another answer. This is a huge issue in the in the present GST structure. The issue of this is called cross empowerment, single tax collection agency. It is not there in our GST. Is it a good thing? I do not think it is a good thing. There should have been a single agency, but unfortunately today in fiscal federal relations between in central government and states, the states do not trust the center. So because of this lack of trust, each fellow is saying, this is mine, and then you are having two bosses. I will come to that in the next session. Is going to affect the efficiency of what should we do about it? That we'll discuss when we come to the next session.